Ever feel like you're on that treadmill,
Yeah.
running and running, working hard, but never really getting ahead?
I think we've all felt that way at some point.
Yeah, it's like this constant pressure to succeed is just hanging over our heads, especially these days.
Oh, absolutely.
And, it makes you wonder, what's it all for?
Right.
So that's exactly what this documentary Race to Nowhere from back in 2009 is all about.
Interesting.
Yeah, it takes a hard look at the American education system and asks some really tough questions about the pressures kids face today.
Sounds like a good one.
And in this deep dive, we're going to break it all down. The big takeaways from Race to Nowhere and see how they're still relevant, even today.
I'm all ears. Let's dive in.
Perfect. So one of the things that really struck me about Race to Nowhere was the way it highlighted the immense pressure that students are under.
Right.
Like, it's not just about homework or even grades. It's this constant pressure to be the best, to get ahead. And it leads to some pretty serious consequences.
Well, and the film really drives that point home with this statistic. Over 70% of high school students reporting feeling stressed about their schoolwork.
Wow, 70%. That's a huge number.
It is. And what's even more concerning is that many of them are experiencing actual physical symptoms like headaches and sleeplessness.
Yeah, that's tough. Like, I remember even back in my high school days, just trying to balance decent grades with, a few clubs and trying to have some sort of social life felt pretty much impossible sometimes.
I hear that.
And from what I hear, it sounds like things haven't gotten any easier for students today, with the rise of social media and everything else.
Oh, definitely not. If anything, the pressure's just intensified. But I think the bigger question is, what happens when we keep pushing kids to their limits?
Right, exactly. What are we sacrificing in the name of achievement?
Yeah. What are we losing?
Well, Race to Nowhere makes a pretty strong argument that this relentless pursuit of success often comes at the cost of actual genuine learning. It's like we're so caught up in checking boxes, grades, test scores, college applications, that we've kind of forgotten what it means to really learn and grow as people.
It's like we're teaching kids how to memorize and take tests instead of teaching them how to think for themselves, to be creative, to be critical thinkers, to actually be able to apply what they're learning in the real world.
You hit the nail on the head. There's this one part in the documentary that really stuck with me. They show this student who's like acing all these standardized tests, but can barely apply any of the knowledge in real life situations. I know. It's like, what's the point of all that knowledge if you can't actually use it, right?
Exactly. It's like knowing the ingredients for a cake, but not knowing how to actually bake one.
That's a great analogy.
It's like you're missing out on the experience, the process, the true understanding of how things work. And I think this focus on rote memorization really does a disservice to students, because when you're just memorizing facts and figures, you're not really engaging with the material, You're not asking questions, you're not making connections.
I get it. You're not really developing that love of learning.
Exactly. Think back to your own time in school. Was there ever a subject or topic that truly captivated you?
Oh, definitely. I had this history teacher who was just like incredible. She had this way of bringing history to life with all these amazing stories and making us think critically about the past. And I still remember so much of what she taught us.
See, that's what real learning is all about. It's about connecting with the material in a way that's meaningful and engaging.
And it's not just about academic pressure either, right? Race to Nowhere also touches on the physical and mental toll that this kind of high-pressure environment takes on kids.
Right. And it's not just the kids who are suffering. The film shows how parents and teachers, even with the best intentions, can sometimes unknowingly add to that pressure.
They want them to do well.
Yeah.
They want them to succeed. But sometimes it can backfire. It can create this cycle of stress and competition.
Totally. And the documentary highlights some really alarming statistics about the rise of stress-related illnesses and burnout among young people. It's a serious issue.
It is. And it makes you wonder, how do we break this cycle? How do we support students and help them reach their full potential without, crushing them under the weight of all these expectations?
Well, one of the things I really appreciated about Race to Nowhere is that it doesn't just point out the problems, it actually offers some solutions. It calls for a more balanced approach to education, one that prioritizes well-being alongside academic achievement.
Right. It's about nurturing the whole child, not just their test scores.
Exactly. It's about teaching kids to be resilient, to be adaptable, to be lifelong learners.
And to find joy in learning. Because learning should be fun, right?
Absolutely. It should be an adventure, a journey of discovery.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Race to Nowhere, I think it's important to remember that the film's message is just as relevant today as it was back in 2009. The pressures on students haven't gone away, and in many ways, they've only intensified. So I guess the question is, what can we do about it? How can we create a more balanced and meaningful educational experience for ourselves, for our kids, for future generations? It's definitely something to think about,
It is. It's a call to action for all of us.
because we all have a role to play in shaping the future of education, and that's what Race to Nowhere is all about.
It's a reminder that education is about so much more than just grades and test scores. It's about developing the whole person and preparing them for a happy, fulfilling, and successful life.
That's it. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that question.
Until next time.
See you next time.